Hey guys, welcome back to Revealing Biblical Truths. In this video, we will be covering Jubilees chapters 17 through 20. Don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe, share, and turn on notifications. In the last video, we went over chapters 13 through 16, where I talked about Yah's covenant with Abraham and the birth of his two sons. In this section, we'll be looking at the offering of Isaac, Sarah's death, and the birth of Jacob and Esau. In chapter 17, Abraham has a feast for Isaac, being weaned, and Sarah gets jealous because Ishmael, when Abraham is celebrating with him. Abraham is distressed at first, but then Yah tells him that it is okay, and that Ishmael will become a great nation, but to send them out. So Hagar and Ishmael left, but in the desert they ran out of water. Hagar sees her son fall down from thirst and begins crying. The angel visits her and tells her to keep going, and then she found a well, which they then drank from, and they went into the wilderness of Paran. Ishmael grew up and became an archer, and his mother took a woman from Egypt to be his wife. They bare a son, and Ishmael called him Nebaioth, for Yah was near to him when he called on him. After this, it was well known that Abraham was faithful, but then Prince Mastema, which is Sasatan, came before Yah and bid him that Abraham should offer Isaac as an offering to test his faithfulness. Then Yah remembered all the things which he had already been tried with, and was found faithful. In chapter 18, Yah comes to Abraham and asks him to offer Isaac to see if he would remain faithful. So he and Yitzchak went up to the mountain, and laid Yitzchak on the mountain, on the wood, and raised his knife to offer him. And then Yah told the angel to tell Abraham to stop, and that Yah had seen his faithfulness. It is noted here that both the angel and Prince Mastema were both watching this unfold, and that Mastema was put to shame because of Abraham's faithfulness. According to verse 13, Abraham called the mountain Yahuwah hath seen, but it is also known as Mount Sion. After this, Yah blesses Abraham and tells him that his seed would be as the stars of heaven and the sand on the seashore. He told Abraham to go in peace, and so Abraham and those with him went down to Beersheba, the well of the oath, and celebrated this feast as a feast for 7 days. It is then noted that he celebrated it every year at the same time for 7 days, and it was ordained on the heavenly tablets that it should be called the festival forever. This festival would then be known as unleavened bread or matzah, with Passover at the very beginning of it, just as it is now. It is interesting to note that Abraham offered up Yitzchak on Passover, just as Yah offered up his only son, Yahusha, on Passover as well. In chapter 19, Abraham dwells back in Hebron for 15 years, after which Sarah dies. He then proceeds to purchase the cave of Machpelah from the sons of Heth for 400 pieces of silver. Sarah lived for 127 years. In verse 10, Isaac takes Rebekah for a wife. In verse 11, it says that Abraham took a third wife, and her name was Keturah. Hagar had apparently died before Sarah. He then bears 6 more sons with Keturah, and also after this, Yitzchak begat Jacob and Esau. Jacob dwelt in tents and was a smooth man, whilst Esau was a hairy man, a man of the field. Abraham loved Jacob, but Isaac loved Esau. But Abraham knew that Jacob would be the son of promise, the Yahid. So Abraham confided in Rebekah what he knew, and it is implied here that it was from Yah that Rebekah was plotted out how to get Jacob the blessing. In chapter 20, Abraham calls all his sons and grandsons together and gives them a big speech. He tells them to observe the way of Yahuwah, to keep circumcision, to avoid fornication, and to avoid taking wives of the Canaanites, the judgment of the Nephilim and of Sodom and Gomorrah, not to make graven images or serve false Elohim, and in doing all these, that Yah would bless them in multiple ways, through the fruit of the land, through the cattle, the fruit of their wombs, and all their works. And after his speech he gave Isaac his inheritance, but gave gifts towards the sons of Keturah and to Ishmael, and they both intermingled and dwelt in Paran and toward the east, and they were called Ishmaelites and Arabs. Thanks for watching, and until next time, Shalom.